Okay, so solving linear equations. Linear equations are ones where you have as a variable x only without any exponents or other special things. General process is get all the x's on one side and then using inverse operations, add, subtract, multiply, divide, and then isolate x. And then once you have x by itself, whatever is on the other side of the equation is what x is equal to. Solving linear equations. Linear equations are of the form where you only have an x in your equation. So you might have coefficients, you might have other numbers, but x itself does not have any exponents and has no special operations like radicals or whatever. Generally, the process is get x on one side of the equation and then move all your numbers to the other side by adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. And then as soon as you get x by itself, whatever is on the other side is what x is equal to. Again, these are problems from the homework set. So if we start with this one, 8x minus 7x should be fairly straightforward. So I can combine those. They are like terms into x and then equals to 5. So that's all I need to do there. X equals 5 and I am finished. Sometimes though, some of these questions that we're dealing with here are more complex. So like this problem, all of a sudden I see that I only have x, but I also have all these fractions, which are definitely harder to deal with. So I need to do the same idea, which is get x by itself and then solve for it. The problem is I now have fractions, and fractions are complicated. So the first thing I want to do is remove my fractions by remembering that a fraction is essentially a division problem. So when I see this fraction bar, I think, hey, divide. So I'm dividing and I'm dividing. So if I want to remove something that's divided, I multiply. So right here, I'm dividing by 10 on the left. So I'm going to multiply by 10 on both sides. There are shortcuts for this, but I want to be clear about the math that's happening here. So what happens here is then 10 over 10 reduces out. I'm going to be left with negative 2 equals 100, 10 times 10, over 2x minus 5. I now again still have a division, but I see that I'm dividing by the quantity 2x minus 5. So now I'm going to multiply both sides by 2x minus 5. And I'm going to see what I have left. Okay. On the right-hand side of the equation, 2x minus 5 divided by 2x minus 5 is 1, which is why I chose to multiply by that, because it clears it. And on the left-hand side, I distribute that negative 2, and I get negative 4x plus 10 equals 100. And now I can just continue solving, subtracting 10. Negative 4x equals 90. Dividing by negative 4 on both sides. That goes to 1. Let's see. I'm going to end up with x equals negative 45 over 2 fully reduced. Please note that since I started with a fraction, I have a start fraction here. It's very common that I will also end with a fraction. So the process of clearing your fraction is basically multiplying through. And that's how you get rid of fractions in general. Mostly the problem will be a lot easier once you remove the fractions because of the fact then you don't have fractions in the problem. You might end up with a fraction in the answer as in this example. And that should be all you need.